Howdy everybody, welcome back to another video. So I want to talk about the mid-season premiere and just kind of my general review about it and review the episode and just kind of talk about like what the effects this episode will have on the second half and going forward into the season. Now before we get into this video, I just gotta give a spoiler warning for season 10 of The Walking Dead, obviously. So if you're not caught up with the show, click off this video, come back once you are, and yeah. So first off, I just want to talk about the starting scene with Alpha and Carol. Now, initially when I kind of saw this first clip when they released the opening minutes on YouTube before the episode aired, I was kind of like, it's a little cringe, you know. That's kind of the feel that I got for it, you know. It's like Carol just screaming at Alpha. But I think the second time watching it, it just hit me different, I guess. Like, I really think Carol's scream there was very genuine. Melissa McBride really let out a yell, and I think it was pretty amazing. And I think it really just kind of showcases all the pain that Carol has actually really been going through recently, and just really shows how much Alpha is just such a detriment to Carol, and just how much Carol just wants to absolutely end her life. And yeah, I just think that was a really important moment in the episode, and I know a lot of people do think it's a little cringy from what I've seen online, but I do think it really showcases just the pain that Carol's in, and yeah, just how bad she really wants revenge on Alpha for what she did to her son. And I really think after we've seen this mid-season premiere, we can all kind of see clearly now that Carol's really putting her family and her friends in danger, and she's putting them in situations that could get them hurt and really killed. And obviously if Connie and Magna die, which I'm going to get into later into the video, but if they die, that's going to be on Carol's hands. And I've seen a lot of Carol fans online after this mid-season premiere aired, and a lot of them aren't even defending Carol for her actions anymore, and they know that, yeah, what she did was wrong, and she's really putting her family in danger. And obviously Carol fans are really, you know, adamant at defending her, as any group of people would be with their favorite characters. But you know, I do think though that Carol is on a path to redemption after this mid-season premiere. I do think she's hit her peak for, you know, screw ups and the bad things that she's been doing. I think she's going to be on a path to redemption from here on out, and obviously if Magna or Connie dies, that's still going to be on her hands, but I think she's going to start getting a little level-headed after this cave. And I actually have a video that I plan to release where it's a theory that Carol's actually going to take one of the comic book characters' death that was around this time in the story. Now, what I really love about this episode was just how well it was choreographed. I was watching Talking Dead after the episode aired, and I believe one of the directors was talking about this, and they said how they kind of set this escape up in stages, and they kind of set these chambers, and they had different sets and things like that. And it just amazes me how much they go through to create such a awesome episode like this cave episode. And yeah, I don't know, it was really anxiety driven, I guess you could say. I have a lot of anxiety, and seeing Carol being really claustrophobic was really pulling on my anxiety strings, and I'm sure it was for a lot of other people. What got me the most probably was near the end when they were all climbing through that really tight crevice. If I was in that situation, I'd probably be freaking out like Carol. I'm not very claustrophobic, but I just feel like I would be. That's a very tight situation. And yeah, it was just really dark and scary, and kind of just kept my heart pumping through the entire episode, and it was really good. Now, I know a lot of people say that this episode kind of reminded them of a movie called The Descent, and I actually have never seen it, but I have seen a lot of people saying that it reminded them of that, so I'm definitely going to check that out and see what it's like. Now, moving on to like the Alpha and Negan scenes of the episode, definitely really interesting. I really think Negan's redemption arc is kind of getting a little swervy now, and I always thought back in season 9, I was looking at interviews and on Talking Dead and stuff when they were talking about Negan's redemption, and they were talking about how Negan, you know, and Jeffrey D. Morgan was said Negan isn't going to have a straight line redemption, you know, but it kind of seemed that way ever since near the end of season 9, and kind of so far in season 10, it seemed that way. He's, you know, he killed Brandon for killing that family, he saved Judith, you know, he saved Lydia, and it just kind of seems like he's on the path of just redemption, and it's a pretty straight line. But I do think now that he's joined the Whispers and we've kind of seen what Negan's been doing in this episode, I feel like he might be a little indecisive. Obviously, I don't think he wants to necessarily hurt, Alexandria and Hilltop and Oceanside. I don't think he wants to hurt them by being with the Whispers. I think Negan really is, just like in the comics, playing a long game and just waiting for that perfect opportunity to take his moment. And yeah, I just think Negan's being written now, I feel like it's a little wavy. I feel like definitely casual viewers are going to think, man, Negan, is doing all this stuff with Alpha. He's definitely in the Whispers now, like he's, no pun intended, but, he's actually with the Whispers. But I can see how casual viewers could even see that. And now I'm starting to think that like Negan's a little indecisive about his decisions, and I feel like he's kind of weighing it all out at the moment, and you don't know whether or not he's, playing for the right side or not. And I think the show might just be taken a little bit further with how much Negan actually gets Alpha to trust him, because Alpha in the comics, arguably, at least in my opinion, is a little bit less, powerful than the Alpha in the show. I feel like the Alpha in the show is definitely a lot more assertive and strong, and she's very unpredictable and chaotic, and you don't know what she's going to do next. She's almost like Negan from season 7 and 8, and you just don't know what she's going to do. And that's why Negan was so scared when she was walking him away into the woods. I do think Negan thought he was going to die there. That's why he kind of gave that speech there. I just think they're making Alpha a lot more tougher in the show, and Negan needs to really get her trust and get really close to her in order for him to be able to do something like he did in the comics. And I think that's just what's needed, and that's why it was such a shocking scene in the mid-season premiere, is that no one expected him to do this, because in the comics, he doesn't really do that much, honestly, to get close to her. And that's what I like about the show, is they put a lot of original material into the stories that they take from the comic book. And I think that was one of the weak points in the comic book, was that Negan really didn't do much to get close to Alpha. He just it was almost like she just automatically gained his trust, and it was kind of unrealistic. Now, the arguably biggest moment in this episode is the fact that Connie and Magna are now trapped in the cave due to another stupid decision by Carol. And she tried to take a single dynamite stick to blow up half of a horde. That's never going to work. It was really stupid. But I do think that Connie and Magna are going to make it out somehow. It's a little annoying because it's kind of going to be a Glenn Dumpstergate situation again, like I've said in my past videos, and we're probably not going to find out their fate until around episode 13, 14 at the earliest, I'd say. So it's going to be a little while. It's going to be a few weeks, but I don't think both of them are going to survive. As much as I love Magna and Connie, I do think Magna might bite the dust, but I'm not sure. They could both survive. And I know with Yumiko traveling with Eugene and Ezekiel later in the season to Commonwealth, that could be a really cool story arc where Yumiko leaves thinking Magna's dead, Connie's dead, but then maybe at the start of season 11, she finds out that they're both alive. Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. This was one of my favorite Walking Dead episodes. I love how it was kind of like its own little movie, like Angela Kang said. It just felt like its own little thing, not even like an episode of The Walking Dead. So it was really cool. It was like a little short horror movie. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I think it was a great episode. I don't think it was phenomenal to get a 10. It wasn't something like a really amazing finale or amazing premiere. So I'm not going to give it a 10, but I definitely think a 9 out of 10 suits it well. It was amazingly choreographed, very anxiety driven, very claustrophobic, really enjoyable, intense to watch. And I also want to mention these really great moments in the episode too. The scene between Daryl and Carol in the cave when he's telling her that he can't even seem to turn his back on her anymore, and she's telling him that she never meant for any of this to happen. That was an amazing scene, and Melissa McBride absolutely killed it this episode. I mean, this is some of the best acting I've seen from her on the show, and especially near the end when they're out of the cave and she's breaking down. She's telling Daryl, please place the blame on me. Blame me, please, for trapping Connie Connie and probably killing her. And I just love that scene so much. And Angel Theory killed it as well this episode. That's probably actually the best scene that I've seen from her as Kelly in the show so far, is when she broke down and she was crying for Connie and Magna, but she was really smart about it, and she was saying, you know, if there's any hope that they're alive, they can't stay there and save them, because, you know, walkers and whispers are going to start coming, and if we're here and they kill us, we can't save them later on, you know, if there is a chance that they're alive. And I really just love how that scene played out and the way Kelly reacted to that. And yeah, the writing team just did an amazing job on this episode overall. But yeah, that was my review for Season 10, Episode 9 of The Walking Dead. I'm going to be doing a review for every episode of the season, and then after the season ends, I'm going to do an overall review of the season. And yeah, I just hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please leave a like on the video. And if you want more Walking Dead content like this, and you really enjoy watching Walking Dead content, please subscribe to my channel, because that's all I do on this channel. And I'm a really new channel as well, so any new subscribers and likes really help me out at the moment, so if you would, that'd be dope. And yeah, if you want to know exactly when I upload my content, turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a video. All right, and I'm out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.